Hello and welcome to Student Account Services at the University of Kentucky. We get a lot of frequently asked questions in regards to when the billing statement will be coming out, what to expect on the bill, things of that nature. So hopefully after the end of this presentation, I will have answered all the questions you may have had coming into this fall semester. At this current time, we do not know the exact amounts for this upcoming tuition for the fall semester. At this point, we do know that to expect a 1% increase in the residents of Kentucky and a 2% increase for the non-residents of Kentucky. The Board of Trustees is meeting very soon to approve tuition totals, so please make sure you're checking our website in the meantime once those totals have been updated. These totals are for the whole academic school year, so we will be sending out billing statements for each semester. So these amounts are divided into two. As the billing agent for the University of Kentucky, of course, one of the items you expect to see on your bill will be tuition. Any classes that your student is enrolled in as an online course, you'll see that as a separate line item on your tuition billing statement. You also see program and course fees, and these fees are tied to the specific program your student is enrolled in or any courses that may have specific fees tied to those courses. And lastly, we do bill for housing and dining as well. If your student does decide to live in a fraternity or sorority house, we do not bill for all of those houses. So it will be your responsibility to make sure you're reaching out to those houses to see how they will actually be doing their billing for this upcoming school year. Student Account Services works very closely with the Financial Aid Office. Financial aid is made up of scholarships, grants, and student loans. I would expect at the specific time that you have already filled out your FAFSA for this upcoming school year. Work study is the only item on this screen that we don't actually bill for. That is actually determined based off your FAFSA information. A student can obtain employment on campus and use their employment checks to pay towards their student account. There are several types of loans. The first one is your most common one for students. These are sub and unsub loans. These loans are in the student's name. If you are needing additional funding, parents can also apply for Parent Plus loans. These loans are actually in the parent's name. And lastly, private loans, usually these are done through like a third party. And normally the student does have to have a cosigner for these specific loans. But all of these loans can be applied towards the student billing statement. This is probably the most important slide. So students and parents, we will only send the billing statement to the student's UK assigned email address. So it's going to be very important that they do get their email address set up properly and are checking it periodically throughout the week, really, because email is the university's official means of communication. So you'll start seeing charges being added onto the student account probably the end of July, but the official billing statement will not go out until around the first week of August. The billing statement will be due by the 22nd. We do offer some other payment options if you're unable to make the payment in full. One of the options is an installment plan. So for this upcoming fall semester, when we send out the billing statements the first week of August, once you receive the billing statement and you're unable to pay the full amount up front, we do offer an installment plan. It's a $50 enrollment fee, and basically the total due will be split into 4 months. So you have August, September, October, November, all due by the 22nd. It's going to be very important that you log into the Students MyUK to make the payments because we do not have an automatic withdrawal option. It will be the same way in the spring semester. In the spring, we will send out the billing statement around the first week of January. If you decide to enroll into the installment plan, your monthly payments will be split into 4 months for January, February, March, and April, all due by the 22nd. It's very important, and I emphasize making your payments on time, just because if you do not, you could be disenrolled from the installment plan. So If you're disenrolled from the plan, that's when late fees will start. That's when a hold will be applied. That hold will not allow the student to register for the following semester. So it's going to be very important you are making your payments on time. This is an example of what the billing statement could potentially look like. This specific student has tuition, has online tuition, has some program and course fees, and also financial aid. Financial aid is listed as estimated. And it's listed as estimated because it could potentially change on the financial aid end. So please make sure you have accepted all of your awards, submitted any external scholarships, things of that nature, to make sure you get all the credits that you can get to be applied to your student account. So this student or parent could look at this billing statement and enroll into the installment plan. So that amount at the bottom of the statement would be what will be split into 4 monthly payments. Another way payments can be made is in-house. We are located in the Funkhauser building, which is a central location for a lot of the offices. So you'll find financial aid, you'll find the registrar's office, you'll find admissions, but our office is located in the basement in room 18. We do accept credit cards, debit cards, checks, and money orders. You can also mail in your payment as well. And that information is all found on the billing statement that we send to the student the first week of August. Another way payments can be made is online through the student's myUK portal. You can pay with a credit or debit card. There is a fee assessed for both cards. But if you decide to pay with electronic check, there's no fee assessed at all. You would just input your routing and your checking account number, and it will clear like a normal check. So it will take a few days for the funds to be withdrawn from your account. Some other payment options, if you're familiar with the CAP program in Kentucky Resident, basically, once your student has registered for classes for this upcoming fall semester, they can submit their CAP form directly into our office and we will get that applied. If you have a 529 plan, normally how this works is once the student gets that billing statement the first week of August, they can forward that billing statement over to the 529 company, and then the 529 company will just cut as a check directly to UK, and we'll just get that applied to the student account as we receive it. If you have veteran benefits, please make sure you have reached out to the VA office in regards to whatever benefits that you have been awarded, to make sure those do get applied to the student account. And lastly, we do accept wire transfers. We only accept them through Flywire and Western Union. Another way a student can give parents access to make payments online is through guest access. This is something that has to be initiated by the student, and they can do this through their myUK portal under My Info Guest Access. So basically they would set up whomever, so it can be multiple payees towards a student account. They will have their own login information. This is what the email will look like. Once they've gotten the email, this is what the login screen will look like. This student has only given their parent balance view only. So I would suggest you uncheck that box to make sure that you are seeing all the charges that are being assessed on the student's account. And this parent, again, has only been given balance view only. So this allows the parent to keep a record of all the payments they have made towards their student account. There are some students that are eligible for refunds, and this is any excess financial aid. We do not hold on to those credits each semester. So we give that refunds back to the students. A lot of students use those refunds for living resources and things of that nature to get them through the semester. The only way that they will be able to receive their refund is through direct deposit. Direct deposit is mandatory for all students if you are receiving any type of refund for the semester. So they just log into their myUK portal and input their routing and checking account number, and we will only deposit refunds into that account. We never withdraw money from that specific account. So say you get your bill the first week of August, and may have questions in regards to a specific charge, or something could be missing off the billing statement that we're not aware of. If you were to contact our office, we will request a passcode. And this is something that the student will set up in their MyUK portal. We will request that passcode when you call us. We cannot go into detail about a student's financial account without the passcode, and this is just due to the FERPA law. It's going to be very important that the student does keep up with their Wildcard student ID. One, of course, it has a student ID number on the card, and we will request that student ID number when they come into our office if they have specific questions. But they'll also use this card in various entities all over campus, so it's real important that they keep up with this student ID card. The university has a great partnership with the UK bookstore on campus. Students can charge up to $750 worth in textbooks each semester. So basically, the student can go over to the bookstore once they know exactly which books that they need for the semester and swipe their student ID card. And basically, once it's been swiped, then we'll get a report within the next 48 hours to apply the charge to the student account. So for incoming freshmen, you'll notice that books will not be on the first billing statement because they won't know exactly which books they need until the beginning of the semester has begun. So once they know exactly which books, they can go over to the bookstore, swipe their student ID number, and basically they shall see the bookstore charges on the account on the September billing statement. Believe it or not, there are some tax benefits to your student attending the University of Kentucky. Our office will generate a 1098-T form for January of 2020 January 21 for this upcoming fall semester. So you'll always get it the following year in January. So basically the student can print that off in their MyUK portal. But if your student does provide you with guest access for this upcoming school year, it will be available in the guest access portal in January of 2021. We are here if you have any questions in regards to the student account. So do not hesitate to reach out to us. You can always visit our website or also send us an email through our listserv or give us a quick call. Just remember to make sure you have the student passcode in order for us to go into detail about the student account. Welcome to the University of Kentucky.